If you're a coach who has lots of ideas and loves the idea of creating a business where you get to share all the ideas and be super creative and make a lot of money from it and make a lot of impact from that as well, stay tuned. I'm going to be talking all about how to create a multi-offer coaching business. Let's get into it. Hi there, welcome to the Wholehearted Business Show. I'm Laura. I help health, life and spiritual coaches get more clients, make more money so they can live their most aligned life. And today on the show, I'm talking all about how to create a multi-offer coaching business. Now, you might be wondering what on earth a multi-offer coaching business is, or it sounds obvious from the name, but I wanted to talk a bit more about what this is and explain some of the reasons why you might want to do this, the reasons why you might not want to have this business model. And basically, this is a business model. It's a kind of way of making income in your business. And if you really want to explore that, then this is absolutely going to be the episode of the show for you. So a multi-offer coaching business is basically a business that has multiple offers. I think this goes a bit further than having, like a couple of coaching packages, maybe it's a one-off call, a course. This is where you're getting into going beyond 5, 10 different offers in your business and you've got quite a few things going on. So I need to give a big hat tip here to Lizzie Goddard, who's been my business coach in the past. And the first kind of place that I came across this whole approach of having multi-offers was around her business. And she makes this work really well. She teaches a lot about this kind of approach. And I think, and as we'll get into like why you might want to explore this, I think if you've got the personality type that enjoys this kind of thing, it could work really well for you. There is also, like, on the flip side of this, a bit of a trend, I think, online where businesses just have a single offer and really put everything into making that single offer work. And it really just depends whichever one's better for you. I think there's pros and cons to both approaches, but it's really what is going to work best for you. And I honestly think this is really where your personality type is going to come into how well this is going to work or not. So why might it be a good idea to have a multi-offer coaching business? The first thing, as I've just talked about there, is personality type. So for me personally, if I had a single offer in my business, I would find it really boring. It just doesn't suit my personality, and I'm quite multi-passionate. I would definitely describe myself as being like that. So having multiple offers allows me to explore lots of different things, to create new things, and just to really enjoy that process. So it really suits my personality type. If you have a similar personality in terms of like how you like to create things, explore ideas, go into things in a bit more depth in different ways, then this kind of business model could definitely be for you. Another reason is being able to serve people at different price points. Now, again, this is actually quite a complicated one because it comes into lots of different elements of stuff. So things like how you're pricing as part of your brand and like where pricing sits with that. If you see yourself as quite a premium brand, you might not want to have like lower prices, and that's totally up to you. But having multi-offers means that you can potentially serve people at different price points. And if that's a value of yours, if one of your values is accessibility, then it's absolutely fine to have lower priced products and options that are more entry level, or don't even have to be entry level, you can just decide to price them at the point that they're at, and that can be really good. So if that's a value of yours, that's another good reason to have a multi-offer business. Also to bear in mind as well though, that if you're creating free content for your marketing, then you are also serving people at a very accessible place. With this point, you can go both ways with it, do you know what I mean? But if you have a really high value of being accessible, then having multiple offers means that you can serve people at potentially different price points and still have a profitable business at the end of it. Another reason why this kind of business model might work for you is being able to benefit from repeat custom. So one of the reasons that I think multi-offer businesses can work quite well is because there's a little bit less pressure on having to constantly get new leads and new people through the door into your business. If you have a single offer, that single offer working well for you is often down to making sure that you are constantly having to get new leads, new people to interact with your business. And sometimes that can be quite a lot of pressure depending on things like the price point and what other marketing you've got set up, and also whether or not the one thing that you've got is recurring or not. So when you have a multi-offer business, it gives people lots of options. And what you'll often find is that people find you and they buy one thing and then they go away and buy another thing and then another thing. And often it ends up with them working with you in perhaps your more one-to-one based services. So it basically means that there's a little bit less pressure to have to get new people in all the time. Obviously, you still want to be doing that anyway, but it basically means that you can benefit from selling new things to existing people in your audience that is going to serve them and really help them. It's not about just like churning out crap and hoping that they're going to buy it. It's about obviously creating really good stuff for them, but you can basically have people work with you again and buy from you again and again if you have multiple offers that they can look through and purchase. Having a multi-offer business also means that you get to explore different elements of your niche. So if you have, and I'll talk a little bit about niche and how this comes into it, but if your niche is like fairly broadish and there's lots of different like little things that you want to get into, like in my business, I very broadly help business to consumer coaches, and there's loads of things that I can get into around that topic, and there's so many things that I want to talk about and want to go more in depth into. And having multiple offers really allows me to do that. And it might be the same in your business. So if you have different areas of your niche that you really want to explore, that you want to just allow yourself to really go there. And also it means that you could potentially have paid offers that, let's say that someone finds you because they're just particularly interested in this one element of your niche. It means that there's an entryway for them into your wider world, your wider business, and they can come in through that offer, that product, which is perhaps on like a narrower area than your general niche. So that's really cool. You're really allowed, I think, to go off and explore what's going on in lots of different dimensions of your work and your niche. And again, it comes back to like you being the niche, and especially if you're multi-passionate, like you're the thread that connects the things. So it just gives you so much freedom to have fun with things like that in your business. And speaking of fun, this leads me on to being able to create kind of fun like marketing and sales like things in your business. So basically when I'm talking about fun things in your business, I'm talking about things like evergreen funnels, tripwires, being able to have like fun little upsells and order bumps and all these kind of little things that help make your business a bit more profitable overall, that are really fun to craft out. They do take a bit of time, and we're definitely going to be talking about time and when it comes to this kind of business model, but it's just really fun ways to make more money and have more fun in your business, being able to create like these little systems in the back end. And really you need multiple offers to be able to do that well. Another reason that having multiple offers works is because it allows you to participate in bundles. So if you want to be in a bundle, I've talked about bundles on the show before in terms of how that can really support you with growth. You're going to want to have multiple offers. Now, I've been in a few bundles recently, like over the last kind of year. And what I'm finding now is I need to create some more products because I've used a few of my existing products a few times now, and it's like I'm ready to create some new stuff, which is really exciting and fun. But having multiple offers means that you can take advantage of being in bundles, of sharing your work and using that as basically a way to get more people into your business. I want to say leads, but I really dislike that term. So whenever I say leads, what I really mean and what I want to say is wonderful humans in your business. So it basically attracts more wonderful humans into your business, and having multiple offers allows you to participate in these kind of bundles and put new fun things in, and also have products that are perhaps best suited to different bundles as well. That's what I'm finding more in my business, is having different products that perhaps work a bit better for that bundle and something different for that bundle. And it just helps you with the overall growth from that point of view as well. Another benefit is building trust. So the kind of theory goes that when someone purchases something from you, so even if it's a really small amount, they move from being just a kind of person who is aware of your business or a subscriber to a customer. And that is a step further in the kind of trust journey of potentially working with you in your maybe more one-to-one and higher priced products. So when we have multiple offers, again, we're maximizing the opportunities for that to happen, for people to exchange money and have something from us in a paid capacity. It just helps to build that trust factor even more, because if they get something, even if it's a small amount of money that it's exchanged, and they know that you have served them well, that you've given them something of good value, that they've gotten to know you through that offer as well, then that's really going to help people move up that kind of, I talked about in some recent shows about the cold, warm and hot leads, or the, again, wonderful humans in our business. And it helps move people up towards the kind of hot leads circle in the middle, where you're top of mind, people know you, they know what you're about, they trust you, that you're going to help them and things like that. Having a multiple offer business means that you can have more opportunities to move people from that kind of cold or subscriber person who knows you but hasn't exchanged money to like another level of trust. So if this sounds good to you, and if you're thinking, oh yeah, I'm into this, another massive benefit of it actually that I haven't gotten into is just your capacity. Like, you've got so many more routes for money to find you. So when I have done like money manifesting work and money mindset stuff, one of the things that always stuck in my head was like, make it easy for people to pay you. Create lots of routes for money to find you. And when you have a multi-offer coaching business, you are literally like saying to the universe, like, here, I've got loads of ways that money can come and find me now. And again, it really depends on like, if the idea of creating lots of offers feels really heavy, then that's not going to work for you because you don't want that heavy energy around it. But if creating stuff feels really fun, and then having all of those routes for money to find you, I think that's a really fantastic thing to have in your business. So actually, just the fact that it makes potentially you've got all these different ways for money to find you is really, really awesome. Plus, a lot of these things, once they've been created, and I think for most of us, when we're talking about the multi-offer coaching business that I'm talking about here, generally speaking, we're talking about having multiple digital offers. I've got multiple like one-to-one, done for you, group programming offers as well, and that can definitely be part of it. And I'll get onto how that can look, but absolutely it is also having multiple digital offers, a lot of which are passive once you've created them, and then they can make you money without you necessarily having to do a lot else apart from your marketing and nurturing and all of that stuff. So how to create a multi-offer coaching business? I think first of all, like, it's really simple. Just start creating more offers and start making more offers available. That's a really simple way to look at it. However, I think there's a few different kind of more specific ways that we can approach it that might be helpful. The first thing that I want to say as well, I think as a coach, I always recommend to my clients that they get 3 clear main offers nailed before they start adding anything else into the mix. And that's a main coaching package, a priceless power hour style power hour, and a small digital product. I'll link to the episode of the show where I talked about that and explained why that makes sense. But I think when you have those 3 key offers really dialed in and working, then that's a great foundation to starting to add more new offers into the mix. So once you've got those 3 key offers dialed in, then there's some other things that you might want to think about in terms of where to start with creating more offers. The first one is to look at your free content that you're creating. It's highly likely that you're creating free content in some way, shape or form, and starting by looking at what is working from your free content, what's popular, what do people want more of, what are people commenting on, engaging with, asking questions about. That can be a really good indicator that there's some opportunities there to go into something in a bit more depth and create something new from that place. The next thing that you can think about is anything that you've done personally linked to your niche that is a teachable, repeatable process. So this can work really well as a paid live training. So let's say that you were a health coach and you have created a workout program, you've done it, it's worked really well for you. It's a very repeatable process that you can teach other people who are perhaps similar to you in certain ways. You could teach that as a paid live training as a very specific kind of, this is how I did it, this is how you can take it and go with that. And that's another good thing that you could try, is adding like a first step towards doing something that is another offer in your business. If you're getting maxed out with your one-to-one coaching, that's a really great invitation to start considering what a group program might look like. Now, a group program isn't going to be the right step for everybody, but when you start to notice that your coaching is starting to fill up, all your coaching slots are filling up, then a group program can sometimes be a really good next step to add another offer into the mix where you can work with more people at once and still get people some really good results. And then another thing that you can think about is to consider your client journey. So if you consider the different stages that your clients might go through and the different stages that you work with them along that journey, is there a product or an offer that you can create? And again, it doesn't have to be digital. It can be, but it doesn't have to be like a program or a course. But is there something that you can create to help them at a certain point in that journey? So let's say that your coaching package helps people once let's say that it's around self-care, and that your coaching package helps people at the stage when they've already understood that self-care is so much more than healthy eating and exercise, or perhaps they've had some kind of life-changing experience and they need coaching at that point. You could create an offer that's for people further back, where perhaps they haven't gotten to that point of understanding it in that way, but they need something different at an earlier stage, perhaps where they still just think that self-care is like healthy eating and working out, that they need something a bit different. So it's just thinking about those stages of your typical kind of client journey and where they've come from before they work with you, where they go afterwards, and think about what you can create. And it might be that you want to create an offer for people after they've left your actual coaching program, and once they're out the other side, then that's an option as well. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about what my multi-offer coaching business looks like. Now, I'm obviously a business mentor, business coach, so mine's going to look a little bit different to yours if you're a health, life or spiritual coach, but I want to share the example so that you can see how certain things fit together and just get a sense of what this can look like as an example. So I have lots of different offers in my business. I'm going to try and list some of them out, but if you want to see them all, go to my everything page. Again, another hat tip to Lizzie Goddard, who created the concept of an everything page. But I'll leave a link for that in the description. And if you go there, you will see every single offer that I have in my business. And that has everything on there that I offer that's paid and free as well. Actually, I've got everything on there that's paid or free. So you can find out all the stuff that I do. And basically I have a main coaching package called Thrive, which is for coaches who want to be supported to take their business to the next level. That's actually about to go through some changes to that program, which I'm really excited about. I've been running Thrive for about 2 years now. So I'm ready to make some tweaks based on what I've experienced with the coaches that I've worked with through that program and make a few tweaks. I'm really excited about that. But I have that's my main coaching package. That's 4 to 6 months. And that's the main coaching package that I offer. I've also got done for you packages around website and brand design. And I feel like I haven't talked about these packages a lot recently, but I really still enjoy doing that work. So if you need a website, a brand and a website, if you're a new coach and you need all of that stuff set up for you, I'm your person. I can do a wonderful website for you and also mentor you at the same time. So I have some done for you packages around that. I then have multiple one-off sessions that you can have with me. So I have a clarity call, I have a business planning session. So the clarity call is 90 minutes. I have a business planning session that's 2 hours. And then I have a virtual VIP day, which is all on Voxer. And that's like a 6-hour Voxer slot where we can chat backwards and forwards about all your business stuff. I then have, of course, my fantastic 6-month group program, Wholehearted Business, which is wonderful. I've got so many women in there who are just awesome. I absolutely adore that program. It's wonderful. So I've got Wholehearted Business. And then under that, I've got lots of different smaller programs and like digital programs basically under that. So another part of this as well, in the way that I've approached it, is that sometimes it's also about having the flexibility to just pull a program together or just pull something out from somewhere that feels fun and like interesting to do. So last year, for example, I ran a program called Connecting Content, which was a live program that kind of brought together some of my content related courses. And I ran that, and that was really good fun. And that was just something that I just came up with and utilised some of those other products that I had. Also, what I've done before as well is I have a kind of like a little package called Get It Done, which I usually release around about October time. And it's really good for anyone who wants to get stuff done in the latter half of the year so that they're ready to launch with the January heightened interest that people have. So I often release that, but it's not something that I permanently have available. It's just something that I will sometimes just make available if I feel like it and it feels fun to do. The multi-offer business for me is just about having all this flexibility and all this creativity that you can pull together things that you've already created. You can create new things. There's just so many different ways that you can use it. And like I say, I think for me, it gives me maximum flexibility to create lots of things. What I've done most recently, the most recent thing that I've created is the Content Marketing for Coaches Club. We have a special offer if you're watching or listening to this as it goes out. You might have a couple of days to get in while the discount is still available, like the founder member offer is still available. But on the 1st of February, that's going to be going up to a higher price. But you can join for as little as $9 or £8 a month. There's 2 different levels of the club, and that's been really fun to put together. And I'll probably talk a little bit more about that because I was laughing. I was talking to someone the day I was talking to Welly, who I've had on the show before, and I'm going to be on her podcast. And she was saying, you said you were never going to have a membership. And I was laughing. I was like, yeah, I know. I said I was like completely not going to do a membership ever again, and then I've eaten my words. But I'll probably do an episode of the show where I talk a bit more about like why I've done that and why I've decided to create a membership. And a lot of it is like really random, but I will share a bit of why I'm doing that. So the Content Marketing for Coaches Club is there. Please come and join. It's fantastic. It's going to be so much really good fun. If you want to really get your content-based marketing that's not necessarily based on social media, so your blog, your podcast, YouTube potentially, like Pinterest style stuff, then that is going to be a really great place to come and get supported and get lots of information. It's going to help you have lots of ideas and just help you stay consistent. So that's going to be fantastic. So that's what my multi-offer business looks like. I've got all these different things going on. I've got little evergreen funnels here and there. I've got little tripwires. I've got little upsells. I've got little order bumps. I've got all these different things going on, and it just makes it really good fun to run, and it makes a lot of it quite passive. Like, I'm not making massive amount of money passively, but it is making some money passively. And the good thing is that I know that I could, if I took like a month off work, a month out of the business, that the things that I've got set up in terms of my content marketing, which drives some of my lead generation, some of my wonderful people, wonderful humans coming into the business, that I would probably still make some money just on the back of that happening, which is pretty cool, I think. So that's what my multi-offer business looks like. So in creating that for myself, I have learned a lot of lessons around how to make this approach work, or certainly in terms of working for me as an individual. And these are just things that, like, lessons that I've personally learned. They're not necessarily recommendations, but they're just things that I've learned myself. So one of the main things that I've learned is that it makes sense for lots of different reasons for me to have some bigger programs, bigger containers where some of the smaller offers can sit, where you add extra value into that and then potentially create recurring income from that, or just a bigger value add to all of that stuff. So an example of this is Wholehearted Business, that group program that I talked about, which is amazing. Inside that group program, you get access to all of the smaller courses, which is like a lot of value in there. So that's a massive value add to the people who are in that program. And then there's a bunch of extra like training and resources that are just for them, as well as all the extra support that they get from me. So putting the stuff together, and this is one of the things that I found, is that when you put a lot of these smaller offers together, sell them individually at the start, but then once they're kind of gone through their life cycle a little bit, putting them together with other things. And this is the Content Marketing for Coaches Club as well. The supported level, you get access to my 3 main content marketing courses. And there's probably going to be more of those created, to be honest, now that I've got that going and I've got that container for them to go in as well. So it just gives you, I think it just basically means that they can be more profitable overall, but also give people a bit more value in some of those other containers. So having perhaps a bigger container at some point, and what you might end up finding is if you create lots of smaller offers, and then you'll start to see themes. So for me, there was like a bit of a content marketing theme definitely starting to develop, and that's where I've gone. And that was one of the reasons why I've created the Content Marketing for Coaches Club, because I knew I wanted to do something around content, and I had these 3 awesome programs, and I'd done a lot of stuff around content, and I'm really passionate about talking about content, and I just needed the right container to put all of that stuff in, and that was where that came from. Something else that I've learned as well is bear in mind when you are creating a course around something, so certainly like a digital project around something, that is going to need a lot of updating. So for example, I've got courses like on Pinterest, which, to be honest, I need to do some major updates to that because Pinterest has changed so much. And just be aware that if you're doing a course around something where it's likely that, certainly if it's an external platform like Pinterest is, that there's going to be updates that are going to need to happen for that. And that's something else. It's another bit of work. You can't just necessarily put it out there and leave it. And to be honest, I would say that for most programs. I think there's a lot of mine that I want to go back to and just make sure that everything makes sense still, like update stuff, make it better. Like I want to go back and do that with some of my programs. So you need to factor that time in, that updating time, into your equations when you're thinking about how profitable this is going to be to create and run. Another awesome thing to do is to make use of flash sales and really simple launches when it comes to selling stuff. If you're creating multiple offers, you don't necessarily want to be doing like a big all singing, all dancing launch all of the time, because it's going to just become a bit of a pain in the arse. So I'm a big fan of doing like quite simple, small launches. I don't tend to do massive launches anymore. I think I talked about this last year. I think I did a fairly biggish launch for Wholehearted Business in March, but I kind of, it doesn't necessarily, and I never say never, do you know what I mean? Like I said I wasn't going to do a membership, and I've done a fucking membership, so I'm never going to say never to anything in business. And to be fair, I think when I said I wasn't going to do a membership, I think I did say I'll never say never, because there's always a chance that I will change my mind. But yeah, it's just one of those things to consider and think about, is that using like easier methods to sell and launch stuff is really going to help. Another great thing that I've learned in this process is to pre-sell and then create the course as you go. Now, this is not going to be right for everybody, and I don't do this very often, but when I have done it, it's worked really well. So when I created Blog School, what I did was I ran that as a live program. So I went straight into live and I pre-sold it. And then I created the content for it week on week and dripped that out. So what that meant was that I wasn't having to do a bunch of content creation up front before I actually knew if the idea was profitable. I could sell it, write the sales page, know exactly what I was going to create, and have all of the detailed plans for what I was going to create, but sell it, check that there was some interest there. You can do a waitlist approach as well. Check that there's some interest there, and then create the content and drip that out as the program's developed live. And I've done that, like I said, I did that for Blog School. I did that for another course, which I've just retired, called Rock Your Coaching Brand and Website, which taught you how to create your brand and website. But I've retired that. Again, the main reason I've retired that is because there was so much to keep on top of in terms of updating the course, and it just wasn't going to be manageable. So just those things to consider and think about, but you can pre-sell. It's a really great way to jump in and get some income straight up front to make sure that something's going to be profitable before you spend like hours creating something. Another thing that I really like to do is to stack my offers up. So the way that I think of this is I've got offers that are obviously much more of an investment, like my one-to-one coaching is a higher investment, Wholehearted Business is a higher investment than these smaller courses and things. So what I like to do is to stack all the value up. So if you join Thrive, my one-to-one mentoring program, you get access to everything underneath that. So basically all of my programs, all of that kind of stuff that I've got, you get access to all of that. The same again in Wholehearted Business, you get access to all the programs that are in Wholehearted Business anyway, but you also get the Content Marketing for Coaches Club, you get all of these extra things. So I like to stack that value up, and again, it just feels really good to do that because it means that people who are working with me are getting everything, they're getting all of my stuff, and that's great, especially when you're investing money in working with me. I want you to have all of the things that can help. So stacking up the value for people and stacking up your offers like that can work super well too. So a few things to consider if you are thinking about having a multi-offer coaching business. First thing is really to think about your niche. I think to make this work, I feel like you have to have like a broad-ish niche. So niching's a really interesting topic. To be fair, I'll probably do an episode of the show on it at some point. I really struggled for a long time with niching as someone who is multi-passionate, and I could talk about it for quite a long time actually. I will do an episode of the show at some point, I think. But ultimately, if you have a slightly broader niche, it gives you a little bit more opportunity, I think, to create multiple offers. If your niche, however, is very specific, I think it might be that a multi-offer business is not quite the right option for you. I think you need to have a little bit of breadth there so that you can explore different topics. Time, another thing that you need to consider is time. This is not the most time-effective way to run a profitable business. I will be absolutely honest. The main reason I do my business in this way is because the way that I am, like just who I am, would not give me any other option. I think it's just the way that my brain works, in all honesty. But there is a time factor. And also part of this as well is just not expecting yourself to create so much stuff all at once and burn yourself out. I think part of it is pacing yourself. And it might be that you can think, I really love the idea of having a multi-offer coaching business, but actually like having perhaps 5-10 offers, that might take you 3-4 years, and that's fine as well. I haven't gotten to where I am overnight. I think I've created my first, as a health coach, I created my first group program after I think it was about 2 or 3 years, and then started gradually adding more. Actually, to be fair, I think the first thing that I created was like an ebook, so like a small digital offer. You can start to add things in. So it might not happen overnight, but if you can start like slowly creating some of this stuff and create your offers around things that you're really super excited and passionate about, because that makes it so much easier. If you're having to push it up a hill talking about this topic that like you're not asked about, don't do it, because it's going to make it a lot harder. But if there's something that you really are super passionate about and really want to share, it's going to come so much more easily. It's going to not take as much time to create, and everyone's a winner in that situation. Something else to watch out for is procrastination. I've just coined that term, procrastination. So this is where you procrastinate through creating new stuff. Now, I was that woman who was doing that for a long time. And we all find like our fun comfort things where we feel comfortable and it's fun and it's all lovely, and we can pretend that we're growing our businesses while we do it. You know, anyone feels seen? Let me know if you're watching on YouTube. Let me know in the comments if you feel seen when I say this. First of all, it's totally normal. I think we all do it to a certain extent. But for me, what I would often do is I would create like new stuff to sell. And again, it does work. You know, if you've got an existing audience, you can create new stuff to sell it to your existing audience. If it's stuff that they want and need, then that can work well. But often what we do, and what I did for a while, was I created new stuff, but didn't spend the time actually doing the stuff that was really going to make the difference to my business, which was the marketing and getting in front of new people and connecting with new people. So there was a lot of stuff that I wasn't doing because it didn't feel comfortable, like the visibility and stuff like that. It just didn't feel comfortable, but creating new stuff felt really easy and comfortable. And you know what? Sometimes that's okay. Sometimes that's fine. If you've got an existing audience to sell that to, then that can work okay. But ultimately, if you want your business to grow, you still need to be doing the marketing stuff that sometimes feels a little bit uncomfortable. That is the way of it, unfortunately. So it's a good thing just to ask yourself, like, am I using creating new stuff just to procrastinate from doing the things that I actually know is really going to help my business grow? And then finally, another thing to consider and think about is profitability. So this is a really important thing. And I think, again, like dependent on so many different factors when you're creating these new offers, the things that you need to consider around the pricing of those and how many people are already in your audience, how many people you feel that you're going to be attracting into your audience soon. Like, you want to be creating stuff that's going to be profitable. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be profitable immediately. So it's always worth looking at things like your audience size now, like typical conversion rates. And sometimes it's a bit of a bummer when you realise that the typical conversion rate is like 1 to 3% of your existing audience. It's not to say that if it's not going to be immediately profitable that you shouldn't do it, because I still think there's lots of benefits to creating things before you have the audience to sell it to. Sometimes I think that can work really well, but you want to be making these decisions of what you're creating with like your head screwed on. Do you know what I mean? You want to be looking at the cool hard figures. When you think about things like, again, it goes back to those 3 key offers that I think really makes a lot of sense to have in your coaching business, because you can use them in multiple ways. But that small digital offer, that works well in the sense of that you might not have people to sell it to. You're not going to make like loads of money if you have no audience yet and you've got like a $37 little mini product, but its profitability is from a different kind of perspective. So you definitely want to think about profitability, but you also want to think about it from a different perspective. And it might not be profitable straight away, it might be profitable later, or it might be a product that's working a bit like a paid lead magnet that actually brings people into your world, and then you sell them something that's a bit higher priced, or that you nurture them into a higher priced product as well. So there's lots of things to think about that, but basically think about like profitability before you're spending time creating something, because it needs to make sense for you and your business. So I hope that has been helpful, our little deep dive into creating a multi-offer coaching business. Like I say, check out my everything page. That's where you can see all of my different offers laid out. I'm definitely up for creating some new stuff this year. I feel like last year I didn't create a lot of new stuff in terms of like new programs and things, but I'm up for it this year. If you would love to see something new from me, please let me know in the comments. I'm quite thinking I might want to do like a little mini program around creating your coaching offer. Think that kind of sounds quite fun, or something maybe around group programs. So let me know anyway what you would love from me this year. And like I say, please do come and join the Content Marketing for Coaches Club. Like I say, you can join from as little as $9 or £8 a month. It's going to be awesome. If you want to really get your foundational content marketing strategy set up, consistent, and actually doing stuff that works, then that is the membership for you. And I will see you next time, guys. Take care. Bye.